Now,
Yeah.
give me 1 second so I can try to see if it's up and I can share it. Now, I did move back in May. I moved to a house, but we got so many trees around us, so my internet been going in and out.
Mm,
So I am really hoping we don't have no issues while I am live.
okay. And if something should happen, you want me to stay here? You want me to?
If it start buffering, I normally try to refresh um to get us back on. But if it's to the point I'm refreshing and you click out and click it back on and it don't click us back in, we just gonna have to end the live and I'll see if you ever want to come back to like redo it or something. So
Okay.
hopefully we good to go and don't have to worry about it clicking out. How was your day though?
It was okay. Found out that my son has, what is it? Foot, hand, and mouth, something like that.
I've
But
heard of it. From daycare? He goes to daycare?
no,
Oh,
we just like to take him out and about a lot. So he goes
okay.
swimming and the splash pad and Y and the aquarium, and he goes. We keep him pretty busy throughout the week.
Right.
Huh.
Okay. I know normally at daycares, I know people like kids get it, but obviously it's common to get it elsewhere too, playgrounds or stores or anywhere else.
Yeah, he's never been
Hey
in danger.
guys,
That's
I'm
okay.
not sure who's on as usual. I haven't been live in a minute, but I cannot see you guys when I'm from my computer. So say hi when you come in. Say hey to our guests. I haven't did a podcast live in a while, but those who've watched before, you kind of know. Ask your questions to our guest. That's what she is here for. Pick her brain, make her talk. I do have questions, but this is for you guys to ask the expert. Right now, she's the expert. And the topic is on honesty, being honest with yourself and being honest with your partner.
Hmm.
So we're going to go ahead and get started. For starters, can you go ahead and just give us an introduction?
So my name is Mahlon Creighton. I've been married for 15 years. I have two little ones that are quite young. They are 3 and 10 months. So I'm kind of blessed that I could wait so long to have kids, in my opinion.
Oh,
Um, I'm a massage therapist, and my husband and I have worked through so many different things in our marriage that um, it helped us grow in so many different ways. And moving back from California after being there for 15 years, I moved into an area where I noticed some things were missing, and I just kind of wanted to talk about
yeah, yeah. You said 15 years, right?
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time, and I'm sure you guys have been through. No, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because we not making it. A lot of us ain't making it that long at all. So that is really good. I didn't even know that previously. So congratulations for keeping us going in the Black community. Oh, I appreciate that. I want to see more marriages within the Black community, especially healthy ones, so to
Hmm.
speak. So that's why I love doing my podcast. I love doing the topics that I do. I'm trying to get us on a healthy mindset because a lot of this toxic stuff, these mindsets we got, a lot of us ain't gonna make it to 15 years. So you, hey, you hold down the fort for us. But so let's. So guys that are watching, share the live, tag some people in. Go ahead, get your questions in. Again, it is on honesty with yourself and honesty with your partner. So go ahead and tell us what made you choose this topic.
Well, because before my husband and I noticed that honesty was our key, we were pretty rocky. So we weren't honest with our finances to each other. We weren't honest with things that we had done in the past. We weren't honest about what we wanted. We would always say stuff like, "Oh yeah, um, what you envision for our life is great. That's gonna be great," even though we would disagree in our mind. Like, no, I really don't want that. Not right now. I started being honest with my husband. Uh, when we were younger, and he got into the military, and he was like, "Come on, let's have babies." And I was like, "Yeah, no. I want to go. I want to go to school, and I want to have a career, and I want to do these things, and I can't do that with a child. Like, I
Yeah,
can't freely move with a child. You're gonna have to constantly think of them and where they are and who they are and develop them. And in my early 20s, I was like, I don't even know who I am. So
yeah,
how am I
yeah,
gonna do that with a little person? And I can't even tell you what I want for real.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I love how you said that. And I'm 35. I have one soon to be 14-year-old, and I am at a space in my life where I feel that I don't want any more kids because of where I'm at. It's like I can't freely move with a new kid. Like I'm starting all the way over. I don't have support from family. Daycares are expensive. Like I don't want to go through all of that.
yeah.
So I'm currently where you're at, and because I know that about myself, I will not date a person who actually wants kids. If I know up front they want it, I wouldn't date them because
Hmm.
I don't want you to waste your time. That's my
Yeah.
mindset right now. And that's look, it's going to that honesty, being honest with yourself. I know I don't want any, so I'm not going to waste somebody's time who wants some, and then in the back of their mind, they're like, well, eventually she'll change her mind. So I don't want you to bank on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to go back to now. This was not a question, but I like how you said we were not honest with. We were say one thing, but we weren't really honest with that. We were just saying it, to try to make the other person feel good.
Yeah.
This is not a question, but based off you saying that, why do you think we do that?
Well, it's people. To be honest, we're all subconscious people pleasers. At least I feel like it. So you may say like, I don't care about people. I don't care what they think about me. Da 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 da. But a lot of people, you'll find them compromising what they want in hopes that they'll make the other person love them more.
Oh,
And it's like, well, to be honest, if you're not telling the person what you really want, then how are they falling in love with the person that they actually want? Like if they
that's
want
good.
five, yeah, it's like if they want 5 kids, a picket fence, and settle down in a country somewhere, and you talking about I want to live in a high riser, uh,
Mhm.
that don't go together. And
Yeah,
at some point, that's gonna clash.
yeah. And that part right there at some point is going to clash, and I like how you said that. So I do believe, and I believe everybody should have some type of compromise, but
Yeah,
I think the compromise has to come after everything is laid out, not exactly what you said, not okay, I'm gonna give you just a little bit, just to, so we can be together,
yeah,
but then I really ain't trying to do what you talking about. So it's like, okay, you telling me to compromise what?
yeah. But it's like the compromises fall into place when it's like, do you want a gray couch or do you want a brown couch?
Yeah,
Me
like
somebody
small on a smaller scale.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not like, I want kids and you don't, or, I want to live in New York and you want to live in Texas, or like big life decisions. You can't
Absolutely.
compromise on those things because at some point your soul is going to be like, I don't want this. And it's
Yeah.
going to end in catastrophe. Like, it's
Yeah.
not going to be pretty.
Yeah. And it's gonna happen sooner than later. And
Yep.
then that's when you find a lot of people are sticking out relationships or sticking out marriages because now I put in all these years, although we don't really have nothing in common.
Yeah,
I don't really, I don't really love you like I thought I did, but I'm gonna stick it out because I don't want to be seen as I couldn't keep a man or I couldn't keep a woman.
right. Or
Same.
like with the people with kids, it's like, I don't want to abandon my child. And now you're in the marriage for your child. And it's like,
Ooh,
well, that's not love either.
that part. That part. Um, you kind of went in. I would say you went into it, but just to build up on this, give us your best description on what honesty is.
So my best description of honesty is telling the person what's on your mind, an unedited version of that. And
Ooh,
so it's I asked my husband a long time ago. I said, I love you and I care for you so much. But in my house, I have to edit myself at work. I have to edit myself at school. I may have to edit myself with friends because they may see things differently, and I don't want to be the confrontational person at work because it's like, let's work. Who cares? Like, for me, I'm like, whatever, work, you hired me for a reason. That's what I'm here for. But in a relationship, this is so personal. It hits home. It's your home. Why should I be edited in my personal oasis of peace?
Mhm. Yep.
Why do I have to walk on eggshells in front of you? It's not comfortable.
Mhm.
And I don't want to, I don't like being uncomfortable
Yep.
personally.
Yep. I love how you said it's the unedited version of yourself. I really, really do love that. Because I'm in my phase now where I tell people, don't get caught up on the honeymoon stage. Please don't get caught up on that. And when I say honeymoon, I'm not even just talking about marriage. I'm just talking in general honeymoon, as in I just met this person. We're dating. And, oh my God, they do everything right. Please don't get caught up on that because you don't yet have the unedited version of them.
Exactly.
You got their representative. So you got to be careful of falling in love with the representative, and then you get into a relationship too fast, too soon, or whatever, and now you're like, I'm walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
I can't say this or say that because maybe they won't like me. Like, nah, nah.
Yeah. And we didn't come to that crossroad until ooh, we got married in 2007. I'm 33, by the way.
Okay,
So
okay.
we got married in 2007, and I didn't come to that crossroad of being unedited with my husband until 2000, maybe 12.
So
And it,
5 years later.
yeah, and it took a while because I went to college in Mississippi and he went to the Navy in San Diego. And
Mm,
so for a year we were apart, and we did fall into that honeymoon stage when I
yeah,
was 17,
yeah,
whatnot. And and when we got back together and reunited, it was like, who is this person? What are you doing? Where's
mm,
the person that I fell in love with? Like, where's my friend? And we went to combat for a while, but it was like, no, the basis of who you are,
yeah,
the basis of who I chose and who chose me, we're still in love.
yeah,
And we need to find that if we're going to be together. If not, then we need to figure this out and just let it be. Because a
yeah.
piece of paper should not hold me to anything that I want in life.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I am stuck on. I've never heard it that way. I talk about eggshells myself. I talk about not walking on eggshells myself, but I've never heard it the way you said, and it is burning in my heart. Oh my God, it is burning in my heart. You cannot. I want to be in a relationship where I can give the unedited version of myself. And
Hmm.
and that's not, we talking about relationships now, but that's in everything. I know we gotta kind of be filtered at work, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like sometimes even in friendships, I should be able to be the unedited version of myself. Like, are you loving me for me, or are you loving me for who you want me to be? Because I'm being who you want me to be just so we can be friends, or
Exactly.
just so we can be in a relationship. That is sticking, that unedited version of myself, that is sticking with me. Oh my God. I've never heard it like that. I swear I'm a words person. So the way you just said it like that, I swear to God, I mean, like, I got so many thoughts going on in my head now, so many posts and videos to make from it. I love it. I've never heard it that way. Um, so guys that are watching, please ask y'all questions, share the live, tag some people in. If y'all are just tuning in, when y'all at work, y'all can go watch the whole replay later. I do it all the time when I'm at I work a desk job, so I have podcasts in my ear the whole time I'm in my desk. Y'all can watch the replay later if you want to. So going to the next question, what does honesty with your partner look like?
So honesty with your partner means sometimes you do bump heads because you may really, really want something um like for instance when he first brought up that he wanted to move back to Illinois, I was like, no, I don't want to move back to Illinois. I don't want to be stuck. Like, I don't want to do this. I feel like I'm going to be in a place where I just don't want that. And that's not okay. And so, and I was like, I just want to stay in San Diego. But over the years, it took some years. It
Yeah,
took so many years for me to actually want this because I started seeing other stuff about San Diego that I didn't really want. And I was like, you know what, this is okay. I can see where he's coming from. I can understand where he's coming from about this. And it's just it's one of those things where you just kind of keep having those conversations. It's not
Mhm.
where, this is sensitive, so I'm not going to bring it up. This
Mhm.
is a topic that makes him very uncomfortable. This is a topic
Mhm.
that makes me uncomfortable. Those uncomfortable conversations, just like I'm sure you've seen the quote, discomfort causes growth. Discomfort brings growth in a way that you might not understand at first.
Mhm. Mhm.
If you never have the conversation, you don't get to grow in the way that the higher being says you can.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is something you need.
Yeah. I've never heard that quote. I honestly haven't, but I've heard I've heard the ones where it says healthy relationships require uncomfortable conversations.
Mhm. They
And
do.
uncomfortable conversations, as long as both people can handle it, it will get you to that growth part. So I can see how they both are relating to the quote that you just mentioned. One of our YouTubers, she said, "That's good and unedited version." I'm telling you, you did something with that one. I ain't never heard that one. I promise you, I haven't. That's a really good one. So let's go on to the next one. Do you think honesty is easy to give, seeing that most people can't really handle the truth?
No, it's not easy. It's really not. It kind of can eat away at someone really easily because you're like, man, I wish I could have this conversation with this person. I wish I could talk to them about this. But I just know because of their background, it's going to be very, uncomfortable. It's going to be, they're going to fight it, and they're going to let all these past aggressions that are past occurrences that have happened to them, they're going to bring all of that into the conversation. And that, especially when you bring it into play, like, especially when it's like abuse or um, just really sensitive topics, it's hard to get past that wall of protection to let a person in, especially sometimes, oddly enough, your spouse, because this is the person that's closest to you. This is the person
Yes,
that
yes,
shares your bed. This is the person that gives you a hug and comfort. So it's like you don't want that hug and comfort to be uncomfortable, like greedy one day because you said something that
right.
made them feel very uneasy.
And because you're with them, so you know all of their emotions. Like you've seen every season that they were in, happy, mad, sad, terrible,
Yeah.
throwing tantrums. Like you've seen it all. So yeah, it's one of those things where, and I hate this with a passion. I do not suggest people walking on eggshells with nobody. But
Mhm.
it's one of those things because you do know that about your partner. It's like you do kind of walk on a little eggshell because you like, man, we having a good day. I know we need to have this conversation, but I don't know if now's the time.
Yep. And to
So
be honest, those uncomfortable conversations, there's never really a good time because you never really want the person to be uncomfortable. You always
that,
want them to be comfortable in their own space.
that,
But at the same time, now you're uncomfortable.
that, yeah,
So how's that fair?
yeah. And it's not, and that's what it goes back like them uncomfortable conversations gotta be had. That's the only way you can get healthy and stay healthy. You gotta have them. You can't sweep them under that rug gonna pile up after a while. All that dust gonna be under there, then what? Because
Yep.
when you lift that rug and all that dust scattered, now you got a big mess.
Yep.
So sweep,
Exactly.
sweep it on while you got it. So then the next one, this one, I debated on putting this question on there. I debated on it, but I had an idea of why I put it on there, but I'ma just see. I'm just see where you go with this one. So I ain't gonna give you my idea. I actually felt like you kind of said it earlier during the live, but
Okay.
going on to the next question, do you think there are cases where honesty should not exist between you and your partner?
Mhm. No. Um, there are, okay. So I'm gonna be real with you, right?
Okay. Okay.
So the most sensitive topic that has come up between not just me and my partner, but also like in other relationships that I've witnessed. I'll be honest, we're all adults. Sex. It's like, what do you really want? Like,
Yeah.
tell me, because
Yeah.
that's a fulfillment thing. They
Yeah.
say 85% of women are unfulfilled in the bedroom. And that's a really hard, um, I don't know, that's a really hard number for me to look at. And I'm like, dude, what the heck is going on if that's the case? 85% of women?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't talk about the men, but
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's something where it gets a little dicey because, especially if you're like, oh, I don't really like what you do,
Yeah.
like you kind of have that conversation where it's like, okay, this is what I like. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to go with this.
Mhm.
Can we talk about that, please?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's probably the hardest one where honesty becomes a little dicey. But outside of that, no, because everybody has preferences, and preferences are that's your personality. That's
Hmm.
who you are, and you can't deny yourself that like that. Yes, there are going to be times where there needs to be compromise, but the honest conversation needs to happen
Yeah.
still.
That was not a question of mine, but since you touched on sex, I'm gonna go on back to that one a little bit before I go to my next question. Um, the thing with that is, I stand behind sex is experimental,
Hmm.
and I don't want to argue the point. I don't want to bring in morals or religion. I want to argue the point is only for the marriage bed,
Hmm.
because that's not what this live is for. But if you are with your partner, I do believe it is experimental. And the reason I say that is because what your partner like may not be something you've ever done before, because the people before them might have, they might have liked something else. And so you were pleasing them in that particular way. And
Yeah.
so I do feel like honestly with the sex it should I don't think it happens often, and I just look at people conversations and the way they talk. It does not happen often like it should, and I think because people don't know how to say it, they don't know how to bring the conversation up. So when your guy or girl is like, hey, did you feel good, did you like it, you just kind of like, yeah, you kind of,
Right.
yeah, and then in your head you, "Dang,"
No.
and it's okay. You don't have to bring it up at that moment, but I do feel like we have to discern. We got to start discerning, setting the atmosphere, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. Set the atmosphere to be able to talk to your partner about sex,
Yeah.
because you got to be honest in it. Like, I feel like sex is a great connection between you and your partner. And
Hmm.
so that's one thing that you cannot be lacking in. You
Exactly.
gotta have that together. And so, yeah, honesty, you got to be honest in that, because again I've done some stuff with some people and I'd be like, what is what are you doing, like who likes that, type thing. But I don't say it in that way, but in my head while it's happening I'm like, who likes that? Is
Yeah.
this really what you did? So I've always been the one where I'll wait for a certain time and we actually had that conversation, like, no, that ain't,
That's what
that's,
I
I
like.
don't like that.
Yeah. Like, but again, in that same conversation, I'd be like, you know, you know, if you have time right now, let's do it right now. Let me show you.
Yeah.
Like again, that's me and my husband. So
No,
again,
I know. I agree. And I like how you brought that up. I didn't even think you were bringing sex up into this, but no, it's good because it has to be had. Like I say, like we talk about how people cheat so much. And the thing is, yes, some people cheat because they're just cheaters, but some people cheat for other reasons,
yeah,
fulfillment or, sexual fulfillment. Like, it's just so many reasons. I ain't even gonna get to that part of it. But you have to be honest. You gotta be willing to have those hard conversations about sex. Tell your partner, maybe if you bring it up, maybe if you say, hey, I send them a meme or something, if you don't want to say it out loud, send them a meme like, oh, let's try this, whatever. Just
yeah,
start the conversation. You know what I mean? Like, open that door to have the conversation. And then while you're in the midst of it, talk
mhm,
them through it. Let's try this. You might teach them something they ain't never thought of before, but just
mhm.
be honest. Be honest about the sex. You gotta be.
I'm gonna go back to that meme thing. So I remember when we first started being really honest. I was good at words. I was okay with my words, and so I would always send like a text of like, this is what
Yeah.
this is what we can do, and we just literally go through pages and pages of you know, just sexual content in our
Mhm.
phones. And, later on that day or later on that week, those things will play out.
Right.
And that helped because it was like, I'm not forcing you to do it and I'm not asking you to be uncomfortable. I'm just
Mhm.
telling you what I was daydreaming about.
Mm-hmm.
And then it happened, which was great. So it's like, okay, this worked.
Yeah, and I do agree that I've seen people say I'm not teaching nobody that type of thing, but to me I feel like that's a selfish mindset to even have, because we're here to win. We're not here to compete or be against each other. So if you are my partner and I'm spending a lifetime with you, I don't mind teaching you,
Yeah,
helping you learn me. Because
exactly.
truth be told, we still are learning ourselves. We're still learning what we like sexual, ourselves. So it's
Yeah,
like, teach your partner. You know what I mean? Like, talk about it. Be honest. Don't, just, I don't want to go into, a sex education on here,
it's
but
fun.
yes,
It's
definitely be honest. If y'all don't get nothing else from what we just said, be honest about sex with your partner. Talk about it, and often. Tell them
fun.
what you like. Ask them what they like, but talk about it. Don't lie about it. Okay. But okay, so before I go to the next one, so the question was, do you think there are cases where honesty should not exist between you and your partner? So the thought that happened when I made that question was, I believe yes, there's cases where honesty shouldn't happen. And one case is, say your partner is going through depression.
Mm-hmm.
They really got a lot on their plate. They
Hmm.
really just like, they about to explode and they really on their last leg, and you find out something has happened, whether it was some gossip or just anything you could have found out that happened, and if it get back to them, that's going to be the end all. And so as their partner, that's when I will feel like that's a good time to be dishonest. You don't tell them about it. You don't have to, say such and such was doing this and the other and not check them. No, just check them. Just check them. And then maybe later on, when your partner's mental space is better, then you can bring that conversation up and say, yeah, such and such was talking about this and the other, and I had to put them in a place for you.
Yeah.
So I feel like that type of instance is where you can kind of be dishonest in.
The
I
mental
don't know
state,
if it's honesty though.
the mental state of your partner is very crucial in how you express yourself because initially it's like you don't want to send them over the edge. You're not trying to hurt or harm anybody. That's not that's not what honesty is about. Honesty is not about me viciously coming at my partner in a way when they're very vulnerable and
Right.
telling them about themselves. That's not
Right.
what honesty is about. Honesty is about finding a place and a time.
Yeah.
And it's, yeah, that may be what's on your mind right now, but clearly your partner isn't ready to accept or hear those things.
Mm-hmm.
And once that time has come to where you can express those things, then you can bring it up in a good way. Then you can bring it up if you choose to. Even if you like, if you feel like it's still so crucial that you need to talk about it, because they say choose your battles wisely.
Definitely.
Everything that you have running through your mind, it ain't got to be discussed. I ain't gonna lie about that.
Yeah.
I feel that wholeheartedly, but it's certain heart wrenching things that may come to mind where it's like I really
Yeah.
could talk to you about this. And in those situations, especially when your partner is not in the state of mind, that is not the time. And I'm not saying be dishonest. I'm saying, for instance, if your partner is going through a mental breakthrough with their family, you don't want to bring up like, oh yeah, that's right, I cheated on you, or I don't like jokes. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. Like you don't want to bring those things up when they're already sensitive. It's not
Yeah.
the time. And,
Yeah.
and if, say, for instance, they ask you about it, I've always used that rule of thumb where it's like, you know what, there was something to come up, but I would prefer not to talk about it right now.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer to talk about it when we're both ready,
Yep.
mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. We
Mm-hmm.
need to both be in that place before we have this conversation. Because
Yeah.
one of us is going to be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I love how you said that. I do believe, and I'm also, my target is mindset coaching as well, and it's because I do believe we need to rewire our mindsets. Your approach with what you just said, like that's exactly, that's, it's delicate but it's honest.
Mhm.
It's delicate but it's direct, and I feel like, especially as women, we don't know how to give honesty without being mean with it, or we don't know how to be honesty without what word am I looking for
Let me
with.
help you out. Just to throw a little tact in there is what I like to say. It's like
Yeah.
bring tactfulness in your conversation because tactfully speaking, you'll know when to say something, when not to say something, and how to word it.
Hmm.
because actually saying is being sensitive to the other person and knowing that some ways that you say things are
Hmm.
not going to be taken well at all.
Yeah.
And then completely reject what it is you have to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
My son is trying to back to here. He is. He gave up. Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's another reason too of why I feel like as women we have to get our emotions in check.
Mhm.
I'm not saying don't have them, but we have to get them a little more balanced than we have them, because if they're not balanced, you're not gonna know how to be tactful. You're not gonna know how to be delicate in your delivery. You're not gonna know how to even listen to the discernment that's saying, okay, not right now. He ain't ready to have this conversation. She ain't ready, not right now. You just going, I don't care. I'm gonna be honest. I'm real. Like that's what they say. I'm real.
I'm
I'm not.
real. I'm 100.
You
Yeah.
can be real without being nasty. You can be real without being mean. You can
Yeah.
be real without being hurtful.
Yeah.
But it's these emotions that we have as women. We got to we I don't feel like, I think that goes back to us even being honest with ourselves. It's like a lot of times we spew out the battle that's within. And so when you're not honest with yourself, you're not healing within, like all of that comes out on the outside and it's
Mhm.
so unbalanced.
Yeah. To me, a part of it, like my understanding, reaches back and I'm gonna tell you a little uh, TMI. But my personal background comes from watching, not necessarily watching, but listening to the women in my family. So
Yeah.
many women in my family were not married as I was growing up. They weren't in healthy relationships. Like I would hear stuff like, "Man, he beat me," or he violated my trust, or he cheated on me, and he did all these things. And like, I mean, again, TMI, my dad ultimately killed my mother. So it's like that's a horrible like situation.
Yeah.
And so what happened in the relationship to make that particular occurrence come about?
Mhm. They're like, Mama, what are you doing?
So um when talking about things like that, I felt that it was so crucial to have honesty with my husband when it came to background stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't care what it is, we need to definitely talk about it. Um,
They want to be on camera too.
um, But he definitely understood that when I first said it. I'm like, look, I come from a bad history of relationship trauma. My grandmother was abused, my great grandmother was abused, and ultimately my mother passed away. So it was just like, I need you to understand that this is very important. Go to daddy. It goes to daddy. See, it's okay. Sorry about that. But healthy relationships are crucial because in the African American community, it's like we have such a hard time already with stuff that we sweep under the rug. Mental, emotional abuse stemming from slavery. Like there's so many things that go into why we as a people are not honest with ourselves because our ancestors had to ball that up. And that's something psychologically wise, that's something that's a trait that we bring into future generations.
Yeah.
And that's something that I realized early, really early in life, where it's like you're not being honest, and I can see it that you're not being honest
Yep.
with yourself and
Yep.
with people.
And I'm glad you ended it with that because that's what my next question finna go into. Guys that are watching, make sure y'all get y'all questions in for her. If y'all got any questions on what she said so far, being honest with yourself and being honest with your partner, get your questions in. I do have a few more questions and then we will be ending the live. So the next one, you ended that right on point because the next question is, what are some of the effects of not being honest with yourself?
Uh, the effects can lead to a very unhappy relationship where it you hold resentment towards your partner, you hold aggressions toward them of which you don't speak about because you're
Yep.
like, I had my turn and I didn't get to say it, but it's past now and we're over it. But no, if there's a topic that you need to talk about it. Even if it comes up a year later, like, hey, I understand this
Mm-hmm.
conversation is so far in the past that it's not even on your mind anymore. But to be honest, it still bothers me a little. And I really would like to have this conversation because I
Mm-hmm.
need to know what you really thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we've both had time to cool down and, think about it, even if you haven't,
Mm-hmm.
let's think about it now
Yep. Yep.
be- because I need to have that conversation.
Yep. Yep. And sometimes we'll tell ourselves, "Oh, I don't need to talk about it," just because we don't want friction and we don't want to make the other person mad. And you're actually conflicted within because you really want to talk about it. So yeah, at that moment, maybe you need to discern. Maybe now I might need to talk about it, but later, yeah, I'm gonna revisit it because for me, I have to talk about it. Even if we don't go into a long conversation, I have to talk about it. I got to get it out of my head. So.
Because there are so many things, I feel like there are so many things that people say and do that can be um, unthoughtful actions. So it's like, for you in your head, you may bring up a topic that's very sensitive to you, that touches your heart. But for your partner, he's like, oh, whatever, it's something little, it's not a big deal. Like brush it off and say something that isn't even true because they're like, it's not a big deal. I don't need to invest this kind of time in the answer that I give you because
Mm-hmm.
it seems so mm, little. It seems like a little issue, but to you, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like those are things you need to talk about.
Right.
Did I answer
Absolutely.
the question? I'm sorry, I think I went off on a tangent.
No, no, no. Yeah, you did. You did. Yep. That was it. So then the next question is, what are some of the effects of not being honest with your partner?
The same thing is it goes back to that unedited kind of version of the conversation where the effects is that you don't get the results that you want and you don't get the result even close
Mm-hmm.
to what you expected. Like there is no compromise. There is no right or wrong. It's just this don't look nothing like what I wanted it to.
Yeah.
And the sucky part about it on both cases, when you're honest with yourself, when you're not honest with yourself, and when you're not honest with your partner, is you can only blame yourself
Yeah.
because you weren't honest.
Yep.
It's like if you had just told them what was on your mind in a way that they can accept or in a way that they can respond,
Mm-hmm.
then it wouldn't have played out the same.
Yep. Yep. I did a post a while ago and I said a lot of people, they when they talk about dishonesty with your partner and all of that, they go to the cheating topic, but there are way more things that can happen that can put distrust in your partner besides cheating, and that not being honest, that's one of them. It's as simple as you're not really want to do something, but you, like how we talked in the beginning, but you do it just because you don't want to lose the person. But when you do that and you're not honest with yourself, when you do that, you're not giving your all to that situation because you really didn't want to do it anyway.
Right.
So just to throw out one, okay, the kids, say, you agreeing to kids knowing you don't want to have kids. So
Mhm.
once that kid get here, that person is all in, they want to do any and everything, and you're just kind of like, no, I don't want to go to the park today. Why? Like, you're not there because you never really wanted the kids. And so
Exactly.
that brings some type of distrust in the partner, like, dang, do you not love us? So I feel like that's a scenario where you being not being honest with your partner can really affect the relationship. So it's just one scenario.
Yeah.
Plenty others. Honestly.
I think at the very beginning my dishonesty came in where it was like it was definitely the kids came in because I was like at first I was like, yeah, it's a great idea to have kids. Like while I'm in college, I was like, no. And I had to really sit back and think about it. 'Cause I'm like, I am in college in Mississippi. You are in the Navy, just starting out. I was watching my sister and my brother go through the Navy, and it was like, you're gonna get trapped. Like you're gonna have kids. You're going to only stay in the military because you have to provide for those kids. And I don't know where that track is going to lead, whether that's going to be a good track for you,
Yeah.
or whether you're going to be comfortable in that track, whether you're going to like that track, or whether it's going to end in misery. And, for my husband, the military just wasn't a cut. It was just, he didn't like it. He hated it. He was miserable. He was stressed. I could see this from who I met, who I loved on, versus who he was now. And I was like, you see what I mean? And I had told him, like, you remember that conversation that we had a long time ago about having kids, and I don't want to be tied down, and I don't want you to be stressed about having to take care of them. This is that situation that I'm talking about. This is what I mean, because there are so many military families who get stuck in the military because they have kids and they have to provide for those kids. And it's such a safe route because you got paycheck coming
Yeah.
in every time. It's
Yeah.
not, I got to find a job, I got to like it, they can fire me at any time.
Yeah.
It's not on the civilian side where your job is insecure.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
It's very a secure life that makes you feel very cradled in a
Yeah.
nice little fun.
Yeah. You got a way with words. I love it. I love it. You got a good way with words, man. Um, so then we're gonna go to this is our last question. Yeah, this is our last question before we end the live. Um, so what not what how can couples come back to a good place when dishonesty has occurred?
I will be 100% honest with you. When it came to me and my husband, um, he had to have someone um, that wasn't really tied to us come to him and say, like, look, dude, like your wife, because it was a very touchy moment for me. I was like, I don't like this. I'm unhappy with the relationship. I felt like I fell in love with a friend and now I don't have my friend anymore. This is BS. I'm stuck in San Diego. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want a divorce. And so he actually had an African American minister say to him on the way out the door from work before he was supposed to leave. And the guy was like, look, man, when you walk through that door, remember one thing. She doesn't need a husband. She needs a friend. She needs someone to talk to her like they understand, like they are compassionate.
Mhm.
Husband and wife, the role can sometimes be so mixed
Yep.
because people put all of these expectations on that particular title.
Yep.
The relationship doesn't change after the piece of paper is printed. The
Ooh.
relationship evolves as you make it evolve. And if you choose to take wife and husband as this literal term and say, I'm the wife, I'm supposed to nag and I'm supposed to do this because that's the role that people have painted out to you. If you're the husband and people have painted out the role of, you don't have to care about what she says. You can watch her football on Sundays. You don't have to clean. Or what my husband said, somebody said to him was, you already got her. She's stuck. It's like, no, 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 no,
Oh, that's
no,
the
no, no,
wrong mindset to have.
very much so. And I was just like, and I remember when he told me that, and I was like, dude, no, I can still leave. I can still walk away. This is not my life, and it doesn't have to be because at the end of the day, I've already seen what a very uncomfortable relationship can end up in, and
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. I don't want that for either one of us.
Yeah.
I want you to be happy. I want myself to be happy, and I remember telling him a long time ago when we really, really, or like the very first summer we got together. I had told him, and I held him to it. Look, I don't want to change you because who you are today may be the man that another woman may fall in love with.
Mhm.
And if you're not wanting to make change, if you're not wanting to do the things that I particularly like, and if I'm not willing to offer the same, then we need to part ways because anything else is going to lead us in a path of which we're going to part anyway because
Yeah.
neither one of us is going to want it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think people try to live in this fantasy land and ignore the fact that divorce happens
Hmm.
and divorce is running rampant these days, so don't you gotta have a friendship before marriage. You cannot get in it just based off them titles. Like you said, the titles don't keep the relationship.
Mm-mm.
The titles ain't gonna keep the marriage. It's that friendship, it's that bond, it's that love, it's that trust, it's that honesty, it's the compromising, it's the compassion. It's so much in that that you
Mhm.
gotta have. That title alone ain't gonna do it. You gotta forever be willing to learn your partner, because as we get older and just as we go through emotions and seasons of our lives, we're changing. We're always changing. So you're gonna need to be changing with your person. And when I say change with your person, I'm not saying you got to be on the exact level that they're on. But as they change, you got to be relearning them every time. You can't be stuck with, well, I proposed 10 years ago. Well, that's just what it is. No, she's different from 10 years ago. He's
Yes.
different, you know? So I love how you said that. um, Man, I also did another post where I said I wish more married people um would talk more on things with relationships or marriages, give more tips. And when I say more tips, like how you did, you gave your examples, but it was delicate. You know, you didn't throw your husband under the bus on anything you said. It was like it was real delicate. It was good tips, it was good advice, I feel like it was good guidance. And I do feel like more I want to hear more from married people, because that's where we're trying to get to. And I
Hmm.
see a lot of people getting to the ring, they're getting to the vows, but then after that wedding, everything is going downhill. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, we're missing something. There's a disconnect somewhere. It's like we're guilt tripping people up, or we're getting to the ring, we're getting to the good wedding, but then what happens after?
If nothing else, like I just told a really close friend of mine, I love her to death. Um, but she just got married, thank goodness. She's beautiful, like beautiful.
Yeah.
But I told her, I said, if nothing else, when challenges come, when challenges come, 'cause they will, go through it together. Because at the end of the day, you still have to look at this person, regardless of if you choose to dissolve, regardless of if you choose to keep going, you still have to look at this person.
Hmm.
And it'll be much better if you choose to grow together through a difficult time, regardless of if it's finances, because finance is very, very touchy in some relationships. I got credit card debt and I gotta get out of it. Help me. Or or like sex or kids, those topics, those challenges that come up in your relationship, always remember that this person is there to help and you are there to help them. A
Hmm.
partnership is exactly that. You work together, you feed off of one another, you live to like love that person in front of you. Because with love and compassion, that's when you learn, okay, I can't just be like, nigga, you on your own.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just be like, I want honey, I ain't gonna help you with this. Find a way.
Yeah.
Be compassionate towards that person and understand that there's a reason why they're doing every single action that they've chosen to do. There's a reason behind it. And if you never ask the question of, why did you do this?
Yeah.
You'll never understand and you may walk away from something that was actually beautiful to begin with.
Hmm. And you know what? And me personally, feel like that starts before those vows, because if a person is showing you beforehand they can't be your teammate, they can't be your partner, trust and believe after they say I do, it's still going to be there. It's probably going to get worse, because they might have the mindset of like the guy that told your husband, oh, you got him now. So they might have that mindset, oh, well, I'm married now. So you got to see that they have those traits beforehand. Do they work with you beforehand? Do they compromise? Or y'all a partner beforehand? Or are y'all always, do it seem like you're always in competition? Like, they mad because your friends are better than theirs, or they mad because you make more money, or whatever the case. Like, are we in competition with each other, or are we a teammate? And that don't start after the ring. You know, that don't start after the vow. And I've had clients before where, I break down a lot of stuff, and I make them actually have to think for themselves, because I don't know your life. You can come in, you could be telling me the fairy tale, because of course you don't want to tell everything, but I'm strategic in a way I break questions down. And they always get down to, a lot of them there were signs beforehand. And when we get down to the nitty gritty, I always say, well, with them showing you this, that, and the other, what made you think they were the one?
Right.
What made you go, well, I just thought, well, I was told, and this what we're doing. We're telling people get married so you won't be in fornication. We're telling people,
Have
well, make
babies.
me your wife because that, I make me your wife. I don't want to be a girlfriend, or you should be a husband. You shouldn't be a boyfriend. We're telling them these because the title sounds good, but we're not giving them the work. We're not giving them the tips of what goes in that, because that title in itself, like you said, the title in itself don't change the character.
You know.
So I wish more people like you would speak up. I no, and I do, because I'm for love. I'm for love in general. I'm for healthy love. I'm for healthy relationships. But ultimately, because of the color of my skin, I'm for black love.
Oh
And I
yes.
wish we would get it together. I really wish we would get it together, but we are struggling. We are
Well, 'cause,
struggling so bad.
it's like you look at the young people these days. You look at our kids. I look at my son, and I'm like, dang, I hope you find a girl that makes you happy. I hope you find a girl that, or a guy, whatever they choose. I hope you find a partner that makes you live in the moment of rejoicing, that
Mhm.
you live in that moment. Like, you know, my husband is a beautiful soul because initially there was a lot of work between me and him that went into our relationship building. And I was like, I don't want this. I don't want that. I'm not okay with this. I'm not okay with that. And he would just be like, okay, Milan, like, let's talk about these things.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
breathe. Let's
yeah,
go in.
yeah.
And, you know, the people who look at me now, they're like, you're so peaceful. You're so calm. You're so,
It seemed like it. Yes, that's the
yeah.
that's the aura I get.
They say this, and I'm like, if you would have met the teenager me, you would have met this fire hellion that was like, I don't want nothing to do with nobody. I mean, I attacked my PE teacher in boarding school, for goodness sake, with a racket. So I
Yeah,
was, I was
yeah,
like I said, a lot of work. But it takes someone showing you love and care and reciprocating that love and care to understand, oh, you know what? I this is not that important to me. This is not the make it or break it moment.
mhm,
This is a battle that's not necessarily
yeah,
so crucial that I can't talk about it,
hmm,
that I can't bring up. Like there was after a certain time, even now, it's like there's nothing that me and my husband can't sit down after the day has ended and our kids finally go to sleep. That at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, when we finally have peace, where it's like, okay, look, this came up today. It was on
yeah,
my mind. Sammy wouldn't let me do this, so can we talk about it now? Yeah, of course. But you called me before I had kids. I'd be like, I want to go to sleep.
right.
Let
I
me
know.
get my sleep.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I do have one more. It ain't even really a question, but I got one more thing for her to do. But if you would like to be a guest on my podcast in the future, please inbox me. Let me know. Those who have watched before, you already kind of know. Any of the new people, I am here to help build healthy people, healthy mindsets, so we can have healthy relationships and healthy marriages. Like, we got to get there, y'all. We too toxic, and it's too much power in togetherness for us to be this separate like we are. And so that's my goal. I'm hitting the roots, y'all. We got to get it together. So that is what my platform is for. If you would like to book a life coaching session, link is in the bio. You can do that at your leisure. I got event sessions as well. If you don't want to do life coaching, like, do it all. The link is in the bio. But as we close out, Mahlon, and y'all follow her on Are you on Facebook?
I am
Okay.
under
All right.
Milan too.
Her Instagram page is in the caption though, so you guys can follow her on Instagram, and then any other social sites that she has, you guys can inbox her, communicate with her. This is a woman, y'all. Just from off this live, I can tell already. This is a woman that a lot of us women need to be learning from, because she's got the good, the bad, the ugly, the terrible, the new, the refresh. Like, these are the people we need to learn from, not the people that's still in toxicity. They ain't got nothing to tell you because they need to be working on themselves. So people like her, y'all, get connected to women like her, y'all, because we need it. Those of us that want to be wives, those of us who want to be wives again, We need people like her to have conversations with. So as we close out, Mahlon, do you got any last words of wisdom that you can give to our viewers?
Um, just always be patient with yourself. Always show yourself grace in any situation, and just no matter what, know that at the end of the discomfort, there is comfort. There is a light in every tunnel. And even if it's not the necessary result that you wish for, it might be the result that you definitely need.
Yeah.
That's
Ooh.
it.
Ooh. Okay, you know what? I ain't gonna add on to that because this was your turn to be the last give the last words of wisdom. I'm not gonna add on to it, but my wheels start turning when you said that. But I appreciate you. I thank you for reaching out, want to be a guest on a podcast. If you ever want to come back, you think of another topic, you ever want to come back, please hit me up, and I would love to have you on again. So until next time, I guess I'll see you around on Instagram.
Yes, ma'am.